These are 5 habits that are keeping you fat. I know.
Hey bestie, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bestie, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? So in today's video, we'll be talking about the 5 habits that is making you gain weight. You might be working out, drinking your water, even trying to eat clean, but these little habits are making you fat, okay? And unless you confront them. So I've put the stitches together so that you watch. I'll be back, share my choices.
These are 5 habits that are keeping you fat. I know this because I did all of these things whenever I was 25 pounds heavier. Number 1 is eating according to the clock as opposed to when you're actually hungry. Because every time you eat, when you're not hungry, you are giving your body calories that it's not asking for. This creates a snowball effect throughout the entire day. Because you're eating when you're hungry and you're eating when you're not hungry. And so then you're consuming way more calories than you actually need, and that makes it really difficult to be in a calorie deficit. Number 2 is forcing yourself to finish your plate or be a part of the clean plate club. If you haven't noticed by now, hunger fullness cues are kind of my bread and butter. So if you get full throughout a meal, that's your body's way of telling you, hey, I'm good now, and you need to respect that. At the point when you get full, no matter what's left on your plate, no matter how big or small, put it in a Tupperware, put it in the fridge, save it for later. That will be a really great addition to a meal or a snack for you to have later on. Next is meal prepping things that you don't actually really like that much. I like to say prep for the person that you actually are as opposed to some idealized version of yourself that you'd like to be at lunch. Because if you don't like what you prepped, then best case scenario, you're just wasting money. But worst case scenario is you eat that meal, consume all those calories, and then consume all the calories that you had to consume in order to get satisfied because you're still thinking about food since you didn't like your meal. Number 4 is setting an arbitrary threshold for what constitutes like a good enough workout. Because if you're saying like, I have to go for this many miles or this many steps or this many minutes or like be this amount of sweaty in order for it to be good enough, then you're setting up a situation where it's going to be hard to be consistent with exercise. When you don't have the time or the energy to reach those arbitrary goals, then you're just going to skip that workout. And then that's a time where you could have been active. So if you keep your goals low, push yourself when you can, scale back when you need to, then you're always going to find a time to be active regardless of what's going on. Number 5 is being super afraid of carbs, always saying that's too many carbs and then having really low carb meals, but then having crazy carb cravings and always making up for it with your super high carb snacks. I would so much rather you just give yourself high quality, high fiber carbs at each of your meals at regular intervals throughout the day, because without putting them in your meals and then having crazy cravings for carbs, the carbs that you're going to be eating, then you're missing out on nutrients. You're never going to have a high quality carb. So just get it right the first time and put a solid carb source in your meals. There's no reason to be afraid. Here are 5 habits that are preventing you from losing weight. And I know this because I did all of these whenever I was 25 pounds heavier. Number 1 is eating breakfast when you're not actually hungry. I know this is all the rage right now with influencers being like, oh my gosh, if you eat breakfast before you drink coffee, then you're going to spike your cortisol and that's going to keep you fat. None of that's true. When you are forcing yourself to eat breakfast when you're not actually hungry, you are just going to increase your calorie intake throughout the day. I'm not saying you need to fast. I'm not saying you need to like force yourself through hunger in order to eat at a certain time, but just eat whenever you're actually hungry. If that is as soon as you wake up in the morning, awesome. If that is later in the day, that's fine too. Number 2 is going past the point of comfortable hunger in order to fulfill a protein goal. One of the main benefits of protein for fat loss is that it keeps you fuller for longer. So if you're going past fullness to eat more protein, you're just giving your body calories that it's not asking for and completely negating one of the main benefits of protein for fat loss. Number 3 is working out fasted. And I know that's probably very surprising, but what happens is, okay, throughout the night, your body, since we're not eating anything, is relying on your stored carbohydrates to keep you alive throughout the night. So it's going into your glycogen stores. And then if you wake up, you don't eat anything beforehand, and then you go do a workout, especially if it's like a really hard, intense like HIIT workout or something, your body is really diving into that stored glycogen, your stored carbohydrates. And so then what I find happens with clients, it's just impossible to like get your blood sugar back into a good range. It's just so difficult to like get on top of your hunger throughout the day. Since you're just running on fumes so much, it's really difficult to actually like get to a place where you feel good again and you're just struggling so much with hunger throughout the day. So having just a little bit of carbohydrate before you go and do a workout in the morning is going to make a huge difference. Number 4 is heavy cream. I love it. It tastes so good. Sometimes I'll eat it in a restaurant, but in terms of cooking at home, a cup of heavy cream is like 800 calories. There's tons of other options that you could do. You could do whole milk plain Greek yogurt. You can do whole milk. Even half and half is going to be significantly better than heavy cream. just switch it. Just tell yourself, I'm not going to use it at home unless it's like a really, really special occasion, just because it does pack such a big calorie punch. Number 5 is working out once throughout the day and thinking that that's enough activity. I actually much prefer my clients to just be active overall throughout the day. I don't even care as much about like dedicated workouts. That's more for your mental health and like your long-term health. But for like fat loss purposes, I want you to just take steps throughout the day and live overall a more active lifestyle, doing things like parking farther away, taking the stairs, things like that. All of that adds up and significantly increases your calorie burn throughout the day.
Tiny habits that are making you gain weight. 1, always taking a handful of something just because the food is there. Let's say that you're walking around your office and you see a candy bowl out and you just take one because it's there. 2, always just taking bites while you're cooking dinner. Are you taste testing or are you eating an actual meal? 3, taking bites from your children's plate or your partner's plate when you're cleaning up dinner. 4, having too many options to pick from. Variety actually is not your best friend. 5, feeling any type of hunger and immediately going for food. Feeling hungry is actually okay. 6, if you have the habit of standing up and eating your food, you need to make it a habit of sitting down with your food. And eating out of the box or container or bag rather than plating it, that's a no-no. 8, doing one Barry's bootcamp class early in the morning and then thinking you can just sit for the rest of the day. That's not getting enough sleep. Staying up late and watching Netflix is not great. 10, this one is going to probably rub people the wrong way, but eating intuitively if you're trying to lose weight and you have no idea about calories or food or nutrition. If you start focusing more on your daily habits and behaviors rather than trying to diet or restrict foods, then you will absolutely lose weight and you'll have a much easier time.
Carbs are not making you fat. Protein is not making you fat. How much you eat is what's making you gain weight. These are the 5 habits that are keeping you overweight without you knowing. And trust me, you might be doing them. Number 1, saving all your calories for the end of the day. I know there's a lot of girls that do this, so I'm talking directly to you because I used to do this. I would wake up, have an iced latte, and think I wasn't hungry and would go through the day until 3 or 4 p.m. And it will work for a week or 2 weeks, but trust me, you're gonna enter into a binge cycle. There is a reason that people say to start the day with high protein or at least something before your coffee. Because when you save your calories for the end of the day, you're telling your brain that food is scarce. You cannot eat. You're putting rules. So over time, your body is going to recognize and defy this. We are human. The more you say you can't have something, the more you want it. If you're simply not hungry, don't eat. But do not strategically save your calories for the end of the day, thinking you can binge at night and eat a lot. Because trust me, it will backfire. Number 2, only being able to relax with food present. If you associate food with relaxation, aka when you sit down and watch a movie, you need a snack. When you're scrolling through TikTok, when you're in bed, you need something to eat. When you associate food with relaxation, you're creating a habit. So now, subconsciously, every time you relax, you need to eat. You're not eating because you're hungry. You're eating because you created a habit where you need food to relax. When you break that habit, and for example, you have water, electrolytes, tea, you're actually listening to your body and you're eating when you're hungry and not just succumbing to a habit that you created. And eating when you're not actually hungry and maybe going over your calories and gaining weight over time. Now, it's fine to watch something and have food present, but it's not a necessity. If I'm hungry, I will eat, I'll have a snack. But if I'm not, I can have a cup of tea and I know, and because I didn't make food scarce, I know I can eat whenever I want. I'm not spending all day thinking of the cookies in my house because I know I can have them. If I'm hungry, I will eat. Number 3, stop using food as a reward. You're not a dog. Yes, food is celebratory. Yes, you can go out for a meal with your friends, but we need to stop making food the pinnacle of everything. If you achieve something and the first thing you think of is like, oh my God, I need to go celebrate and eat a bunch, you don't have a healthy relationship with food. I do not view food as a reward. Food is something to nourish me, to make my hair healthy, to make my skin glow, to fuel me for my workouts, to feel energized, to feel good. Food is literally medicinal. Food does so much for us. So don't always think of food as a reward. Because trust me, that way you're going to go to food for everything. There should not be any emotion tied with food. Because once you do that, then whenever you're sad, you're going to eat. Whenever you're happy, you're going to eat. Whenever you're bored, you're going to eat. Emotion and food do not go hand in hand. Number 4, your stress is crazy. High stress, aka cortisol, promotes fat storage, especially visceral fat in the stomach. We do not want high stress and we do not want visceral fat, because that fat is actually the most harmful. So not even for aesthetic purposes, for health purposes, it is very harmful. You need to find ways to manage your stress. If you're someone that is very sensitive to stress and you're doing high intensity workout, you're working out fasted, I want you to revisit this and see if you can push your workouts to the end of the day. Not everyone operates the same. There are phases in my life where I can work out first thing in the morning, and there are phases where I literally cannot think of working out when I wake up. There are phases when I can tolerate coffee. There are phases where I cannot. If you're someone that's suffering from high stress right now, I want you to switch your workout to later in the day and do not have coffee on an empty stomach. Find ways to manage your stress. Number 5, you have an all or nothing mentality. You either go big or you go home. You either eat everything in front of you or nothing at all. This creates a yo-yo dieting cycle and most likely will lead you to be skinny fat. You will not feel good, and honestly, when you don't feel good, you don't look good. If I've learned anything, it's aesthetics, and a good body comes from when you're doing the right thing. You will see that when you don't eat and you starve yourself, you actually don't like the way you look. And you think you're much bigger. But when you eat in a deficit and you work out and you're moderate and you're not doing anything extreme, you will watch the weight melt off, I swear. Because you feel in control. If you're doing something right now and it doesn't feel sustainable, it's not sustainable. If you're going days without eating and then you're eating a lot, but you're losing weight, yes, you're gonna lose weight. Mathematically, you're in a huge deficit, you're gonna lose weight. But mark my words, you will gain it back. And you won't be happy with your body and you're gonna have severe body dysmorphia. Because anything super quick does not last. You want consistent, stable, sustainable results. You do not want something.
Things that kept me fat, part 2. I went from this to this. Wearing loose clothing 24/7. I would always wear leggings or sweatpants or stretchy jeans. When you're always wearing loose clothing, there's a couple things you don't realize. A is you don't realize how much you're eating, because if you're getting bloated, if your stomach's getting bigger, you don't feel it in your pants. And B, as you're putting on weight, those leggings and sweatpants, they can stretch, and they can stretch 10, 20, 30 pounds, and you will not feel it. Next is drinking your calories, even smoothies. These aren't very filling and they spike your blood sugar quickly. Telling yourself you're going to start tomorrow and then eating everything in your kitchen, I am guilty of this. Stop doing it. When you decide you want to be healthy, start the minute you think of it. Start right now. You want to prevent that all or nothing mindset. Another big one was using food as a reward. Anytime I did something good, I'd be like, oh my goodness, we should go get a sweet treat. This can turn food into an emotional crutch, so anytime something good happens, your mind instantly is like food because there's a pattern. Every time something good happens, you need to have good food. Same thing goes for the opposite. If you always turn to food when you're sad, this will create a pattern in your brain. So anytime you feel happy, sad, upset, stressed, your brain instantly turns to food, even if you're not.
Here are the top 10 foods that are making you gain weight. Of course, you can only gain weight if you're in a calorie surplus, so not saying any of these foods are bad. They're just sneakily high in calories. Number 1 on this list are muffins. You know those muffins from Costco that are like big and yummy and delicious and taste so good for breakfast? I want you to guess how many calories are in one of those. If you guessed between 700 and 900 calories, then you would be correct. It's like eating a piece of cake for breakfast, which is delicious, just higher calories. Number 2 on this list is granola. A cup of granola can run you between 400 up to 500 calories, so make sure that you're reading your labels closely and measuring accurately because it's not as low calorie as you might think. Number 3 are nuts. Of course, they are very nutritious, but a cup of these roasted almonds will run you 680 calories. Nuts are very nutritious, so don't completely eliminate them from your diet. Just make sure you use good portion control. Number 4 is peanut butter. I want you to go to your pantry and spoon out what you think is one serving. 2 tablespoons will get you about 200 calories, and I can tell you this, I can eat much more than 2 tablespoons, so make sure that you are measuring that one accurately because it's easy to go over. Number 5 is dried fruit, and not only are they very calorie dense, but they usually have a lot of added sugar into them too. Even dates, a cup of dates will run you about 400 calories. You don't want to eat too much dried fruit because you know later your GI tract.
That's a video, bestie. So I'm just here also to share my true sense, like what I think about today's video. The habits that is making you fat. So we're going to start with something that sounds harmless. Snacking while scrolling. You're watching TikTok, Netflix, or YouTube, or your hand keeps going into the chips bag. You're not hungry, you're just distracted. Mindless eating is one of the biggest traps. You lose track of how much you're eating, and before you know it, you have consumed double or triple of what you intended. Eating without awareness is one of the biggest weight gain culprit because your brain doesn't even register that you ate anything. It just noise in the background and your body stores the calories away. Another silent habit is skipping breakfast or eating too little in the morning, only to binge at night. So many of us think skipping meals save calories, but what actually happens is your body feels starved, and by that time comes, your cravings are uncontrollable. You start eating everything in sight, and not only that, your body is now in fat storing mode because it doesn't trust when the next meal will come. The sake of restriction and binging is destroying your metabolism and building fat in the worst places. Let's also talk about drinking your calories. Juice, soda, alcohol, those calories add up fast, and most of the time they don't satisfy you. You're taking in sugar that spikes your insulin and crashes your energy. It's not filling, but it's fattening. A lot of people underestimate what liquid calories do. That morning iced coffee with syrup and whipped cream is more than a full meal in calories, but because it doesn't feel like food, you go right ahead and eat it again an hour later. Then there's emotional eating, one of the biggest, most ignored habits that leads to weight gain. You feel sad, angry, anxious, bored, and the first thing you do is to reach out for comfort food. The food gives you that short burst of dopamine, but right after that comes the shame. You didn't solve the problem, you just numbered it. And now on top of the emotional weight, you're carrying physical weight. Food is not the therapy. It can fix your life, it can hold your hand. It can't fix your life, it can't hold your hand. You need to start recognizing the triggers and depressing emotions, snacking with healthy outlets, journaling, walking, calling a friend, or even just crying and letting it out, okay? Another habit we don't talk about is eating too fast. You're always rushing. You eat in the car or the couch, standing up while scrolling your phone. You don't chew properly, you don't taste your food, and you eat way more than your body actually needs. By that time your brain realizes you're full, you already been past the point, okay? Slow down chewing your food. Being present during meals is also underrated. You eat less, enjoy more, and stop storing excess fat. Lack of sleep is another hidden habit that is making you gain weight. When you sleep, your hunger hormones go crazy. You crave sugars, carbs, and fat. Your body is literally begging for energy in the fastest way possible. So if you're eating healthy, if your sleep is trash, your metabolism is suffering. Okay, you are gaining fat, especially around your belly, and your stress hormones are through the roof. Prioritizing sleep is one of the most powerful tools for fat loss that people don't take serious enough. Let's not forget about late night eating. You eat dinner, then a few hours later, you're back again eating. So we have to control how we consume or how we take our food, okay? This is very important. And choose what you take in your body. Always read, is this good for my body? Okay? You don't have to eat everything because your friend said no, this is this, or maybe someone just invited you for dinner. And if you are in your weight loss journey, it's okay to say no. Okay, it's okay to say no because you know what you're doing. I know your friend is going to feel disrespected, or maybe if she'll feel like you're not a good friend, but you know what's the best for you. And most of the times you find most of our skinny friends are the one who always invite us for a meal. Okay, so if someone, you tell them that you can't go, it's not a bad thing because you know what you want at the end of the day. Because when you go to this place, when you're going to order only maybe some vegetables, or you order only water, they're going to think, what are you doing? Like, they will laugh at you, maybe they can talk behind your back. So you need to do this weight loss journey with wisdom. Okay, you need so much wisdom. So this journey can be lonely, like I've been telling you. Okay, not a lot of people are going to understand what you want to achieve, but it's yourself. Okay, it starts from you as a person. You know your goals, you know your goal weight, like where you want to be. Okay, what you want to see yourself in 6 months. So don't get discouraged, bestie. I know most of us, we don't see our weight goal, but if you're doing things right, you're drinking your water, you're eating properly, especially eating. Okay, eating is very important. So if you can read about it, what type of food is good for you, or maybe you go to a nutritionist and they tell you which food you're supposed to take, that would be great, bestie. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next episodes. Bye, take care of yourselves, guys.